Hey, and welcome back to Talk of Better Worlds. I'm Sir Felix the Cat, and this is Nerd Talk Thursday. Today, I'm not going to have a rant like I have the past couple Thursdays, but instead, I wanted to talk a little bit about a classic tale that has been retold many times throughout the years. And at the time of writing, we actually have a new iteration coming up with the video game Black Myth Wukong. So today, let's talk about Journey to the West. And so, without further ado, let's grab our power poles and let's go. Before we get into the story and what it has influenced, let's touch briefly on some history. The actual author of the 100 chapter book, or books as you're going to find more commonly these days, the author is really unknown. However, it is most commonly attributed to Wu Cheng-en, a well-known novelist and poet during China's Ming Dynasty. And I do apologize if I get some names wrong. There are going to be some in here that I just have no chance of pronouncing properly. The uncertainty behind Wu having authored the story is due to it being published anonymously in 1592, 10 to 12 years after Wu's passing. Not to say it couldn't have been published by someone on his behalf after death, and that's exactly the claim made by the residents of his hometown, Lian Shu. Backing their claim, in the early 1900s, Dr. Hu Xin analyzed the text and researched the Qing dynasty records and came to the same conclusion that Wu was the author. Still, people are not 100% sold on it. For those that believe it was Wu who authored the book, the leading theory as to why his name was not written on the book is because in the 16th century of China, fiction was considered vulgar and looked down upon in general. Which is kind of funny since Chinese folklore goes all the way back to the 12th century, albeit it was delivered orally and not really written until the 17th century. Nevertheless, these stories were very popular and widespread. And what became the most popular Chinese folklore in history? It's none other than Journey to the West. So, the story, plot, and cast. The story follows the legendary journey of Buddhist monk Shanzhong, who traveled across Asia to collect sacred Buddhist text, enduring many trials, tribulations, and much suffering. In the story, the monk is named Tang Sanzhang, which the name change makes sense considering how wildly the story changes from this point on. Tang's quest is appointed by Buddha, but Buddha would not have him journey alone as he appointed 3 bodyguards who are there to atone for their sins. These bodyguards are Zhu Bajie, a part human, part pig. He was a former general in heaven. His sin was that he one time drunkenly attempted to seduce the goddess of the moon. So he was banished to Earth, where he is to live 1,000 lives, where each would end in a love tragedy. Second, we have Sha Wujing. This is a hulking Oni, or if you're not familiar with an Oni, an ogre. Also, another former general in heaven. During a heavenly peach festival, in a fit of rage, Sha Wujing broke a crystal vase. It's also sometimes considered a jade vase. It changes from retelling to retelling. The Jade Emperor struck him 800 times with a rod and exiled him to Earth in the form of an Oni, where every day, 7 flying swords would come down from heaven, stabbing him in the chest before returning to heaven. And then, we have the most famous of the trio, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Born of a stone that was created by chaos, monkeys found Sun Wukong and held him as their king. Wukong was not satisfied with the life of a mortal, so he set off to obtain immortality. He was able to learn the 72 Daisha transformations from the Buddhist patriarch Bodhi, but then was cast out of the temple for his gloating and for taunting his fellow students. From there, he robbed the 4 Dragon Kings of first, the extending pole staff, his power pole, Ruyi? Let's go with Ruyi. Ruyi Jingu Bang. and then a set of golden armor. Also, a pair of magical boots that allowed the wearer to walk on clouds, and then a phoenix helmet. He also obtained immortality by erasing his name from the Book of Life and Death. He did the same thing for his monkey friends as well, so technically we now have a bunch of immortals walking around. Hearing word of Sun Wukong, the Jade Emperor offered him a place in heaven, where he would be able to keep an eye on Wukong. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and the Jade Emperor definitely saw Wukong as an enemy. Now, not pleased with his position he was offered in heaven, Wukong allied with demons and would attempt to take position he firmly believed he deserved, the King of Heaven. The forces of heaven came out on top in the battle and imprisoned Wukong with the assistance of Buddha. They put him in a talisman and hid it away deep under a mountain. Having a fierce team of bodyguards, Tang Sanzang would set out on his journey, and along the way encountering many demons as well as humans who would wish them harm. Although not easy, their journey is successful, and in the end, redemption is achieved. Sins are forgiven, and Sun Wukong purges all the evil within himself, finally obtaining Buddhahood alongside Tang Sanzang. So now you might find yourself asking, well, 100 chapters is a bit much. How else can I enjoy this story? Well, there are a few different media projects that are inspired or based on Journey to the West. Combining plays, movies, TV shows, comics, video games, we have around 170 projects, all to varying degrees of influence. Now, my last name is not Wikipedia, so I'm not going to list all of them. Instead, I'll just point out a few that I personally find interesting, that I think are worth checking out, especially if you want to know more or just get a different take on this legendary story. So first, let me start with a couple movies. First, we have Forbidden Kingdom from 2008. This is a fantasy martial arts film starring Jet Li as the great Sun Wukong. With some of the Wizard of Oz vibes, this is about a teen who finds Sun Wukong's staff in a modern-day pawn shop and must return it to the rightful owner. It's a fun adventure that some panned for having too much filler. Still, I think it's a great movie. Then we have Monkey King from 2014, Monkey King 2 from 2016, and Monkey King 3 from 2018. Starring Donnie Yen in the first one, and then Aaron Kwok in the second and third films, this trilogy is by far the best. This covers the full story of Sun Wukong from his rebellion against heaven to his journey with Tang Sanzang. You will need subtitles, but if you don't want to read and love good action, this is the best way to go. Following up, we have TV shows. First, I'm going to start with Into the Badlands. This ran from 2015 to 2019. It's kind of hard for me to believe this one is already that old. Starring Daniel Wu, we have an AMC show that is very loosely based on Journey to the West. Set in a post-apocalyptic future, in a world destroyed by war, firearms have been shunned, and now people fight with swords and bows. Our cast is on a journey to find the mythical utopian city of Azura, which rests beyond the Badlands, a very inhospitable land. Next we have The New Legends of Monkey. This one ran from 2018 to 2020. A project made by ABC, Australian Broadcasting Corporation, New Zealand's TVNZ, and Netflix. This is a fun retelling of the original story with minor variations and a little bit of gender bending, but it's perfect. Sadly, it only lasted for 2 seasons before the world ended in the real life illness that has a 19 in its name. Sad times. Alright, 2 more sections to go. So now let's get into comics and animation. Many make references to it and pay homage, like you have some Digimon that are based after the characters from Journey to the West. But if I am to name just one that I think you need to check out if you haven't already, that would be Dragon Ball. In Japanese, Son Wukong is translated into Son Goku. In Dragon Ball, our hero Son Goku is a boy with a monkey tail that can ride clouds on a flying surfboard, carries a magical extending pole, and is a master of martial arts. When he sees a full moon, he transforms into a giant monkey. So he's pretty much, on Earth, the Monkey King. He is on a journey with his friends, one who is literally a pig person, to collect the 7 Dragon Balls. And finally, that brings us to video games. Let me quickly mention Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure for the Game Boy Advanced. This one follows the adventure of Goku that I just spoke of moments ago, and is actually a majority of the footage you've seen in this video. But for a game that more closely follows the story, my number 1 pick would be Sayuki Journey West on the original PlayStation. This is a loose retelling with tactical role-playing gameplay. Sadly, this is pretty expensive these days, selling for between $90 and $150 online. Really hoping that one day we can get a port of this game. So, I hope this video helped you better understand Journey to the West and maybe helped encourage you to check out the new game coming out, Black Myth Wukong, or, even some of the books, which, again, are pretty expensive since now they're split into about 4 different books. Or even just check out one of the other projects that's inspired. And that's all I had for you this week, so, take care and thank you for watching. Hey, thanks for watching.
Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike it if you didn't.
Let us know what you think about the channel.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Tell your mom.